Today, I did the impossible. I was playing round 5 of Reykjavik Open and I was facing an 1800. I was playing against Daniel Raikumar, who is rated 1855 from Trinidad and Tobago, and he was having quite a good tournament. He'd drawn a 2000. I'd seen online that or in over the board games, he'd drawn 2200s in the past. So I'm not sure exactly how old he was, but he was, a kid, and he was, definitely performing well. So I came to the game today and I was feeling quite good actually. I did a little event this morning where I was giving out prizes to young girls at a chess tournament. So I was actually competing this morning. I was playing like some blitz, and yeah, so I've been basically playing chess since 10 a.m. this morning. So I was feeling great honestly after that. And the game started and he went knight f3, I went d5. And it became like a London, and I saw that he, like, from what I could see, he doesn't play this. So I was like, okay, let me just, instead of playing something like c5, which is stuff that I typically play, I was like, let me go like e6, just to completely surprise him. And I knew that this was objectively bad because, my bishop is going to become bad. I'm going to want to try to trade this bishop for this one, which means that I'm going to stay with the bad bishop. So I knew positionally this was maybe like not exactly what I typically would go for, but I didn't want to play against his prep. I only wanted to play against him. So I thought, let's surprise him a little bit and let's just play a very safe game. So I went bishop d6. I was just trading off everything. This is, by the way, completely fine to play. It's just that it's something that I wouldn't typically play. So just very safe. And now my key idea is that I want to take control of this square, this e5 square. So that's why he went bishop b5, because he wants to trade off the bishop for the knight, maybe, so that my knight cannot control the square. So I simply castled. I was playing really fast, which I was really happy about. Also, sorry if I'm whispering a bit. It's pretty late. Like, I feel like, my rounds are always like 5 hours long, so including today. So I always end up like having dinner super late, and when I'm filming this, it's always so late. And if there's anybody that hears me, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah. Anyways, so castles, and then bishop d7. And yeah, like so far I was really happy about my position. I spent a little bit of time thinking here because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go a6, and I was trying to figure out like how this structure would be, or if I wanted to go, I was even like thinking how would this be, or if I wanted to go bishop d7. But I opted for going for bishop d7 because I actually have a threat now, which is that if he goes something like rook e1, I can go knight takes d4. And now if he takes, I take the bishop, and if he takes with the knight, I simply take back. And if he takes here, I can take on e3 in between. So it was a move that looks very innocent, but it has some spice to it, So he went a4 to protect the bishop, I went a6, and now takes, and he went knight e5. So I was expecting for him to do this. And so here I went knight d7, and because I simply want to take control of this knight. And if he goes knight f3, then I'm going to go f6. So I want to take control of this e5 square. That's for me the most important thing. So for me it was very clear. He took, went knight f3, he had 44 minutes left, and I just pretty quickly went f6. I was playing really fast. I had over an hour left here, which is quite good for me. So I just thought, okay, yeah, this just feels very natural. I'm stopping this square. My idea is to go e5, and here I was extremely happy with my position. So he played queen d2, I went e5, and I was sure that he was going to take here actually, or do something, but instead he just went rook d1, which I was really happy about because now I'm able to take the pawn on d4, which is really important, and then push. I don't want to push immediately because, well, to begin with, now he can take, and there's, now he can take, and now this pawn is going to be really weak. But in general, I want to make sure that my d5 pawn doesn't become an isolated pawn that is attacked by the queen and rook. So I was happy here. So I took, went e4, had quite a lot of time, and I was just feeling pretty great. So the knight went back, and now it was time for me to come up with a plan. So here, I knew that I would want to play against his king. I knew that I was going to be aggressive Anna going for the king. So I knew that I wanted to play f5 at some point. But I decided to begin with going rook c8 because I thought that now he can't go rook c1 because then I take it, and he cannot take with the rook because this is hanging, and if he takes with the queen, well, then I'm able to go rook c8, and I'm going to get a really nice queen side. So I thought here I'm just better. So I went rook c8, but then he played this great move, a5, and I was like, maybe it was useless for me to go rook c8. And actually, it might have been better for me to just go immediately f5 here, actually. I think I was really upset during the game that I didn't do this immediately. And I'll tell you why in a second. But I felt like this actually was not a good extra move that I put in. So he went a5, I went f5, he played g3, and I pretty quickly went g5, because my idea now was going to be to push f4. And here he went knight g2. And when he did this, I was quite happy, because I saw this idea of going rook f6, rook h6, queen e6, f4, queen h3, and checkmating, pretty much, with a little bishop on b5 in between. This is where my brain was going, okay? My brain was in beautiful dreamland, and in beautiful dreamland, these things were happening. So I was looking at all of this, and yeah, he went knight g2, I went rook f6 with all of these plans, he went rook c1, and I decided to go rook f8, because I just wanted to keep everything nice and protected, and I didn't want to trade the rooks because I wanted to potentially be able to create some chaos here with my double rooks. So far so good. He went queen c3. I now play this really important move, bishop c6, which I don't know why I spent so much time on now that I'm looking at the clocks. I have no idea why I didn't just go bishop c6 sooner. But yeah, I was calculating all kinds of things here. So I was looking a lot at my potential plans in the future. And here he played king f1, which I was really shocked about when he did. Because I thought, okay, I realized this idea, which was to escape, and this kind of gave me like throwbacks to my game where a few rounds ago, where I Greek gifted and the king was able to escape to the other side of the board. So I was like, I can't let the king escape. But it just looked to me like this was really weakening h2. So my first instinct was just, okay, but what happens if rook h6? And then I spent a lot of time calculating here, because I was calculating h4, which is the only move. If he goes king g1 again, well, I mean, then this, I thought this would be really bad after queen g6, queen h5. I thought that I'm coming in here. So I thought h4 is the only move. And here I was calculating what happened if takes, knight takes h4. I was calculating, okay, here apparently I have f4, which I didn't know. But I was calculating all of this, and I just realized that after queen c5 here, my opponent is fine. Like, if I go here, check, king e1, check, the king escapes. And I was going crazy. This is everything that I was calculating. So I was going crazy. This is what I was calculating when I went rook h6. I realized, okay, he went h4. I realized, okay, I don't want to take. So I went queen g6 instead, which is the best move. But now I was getting a little bit low on time, because I'd spent so much time calculating all of these maneuvers with my queen and rook and the king. And now I was getting pretty low on time. So he went king e2, I went queen h5 check, the king went back, and I now took on h4. This is all perfect. And now, in this moment after knight h4, I tricked myself. I had a couple minutes on the clock, and yeah, for some reason, I thought I wanted to go queen g4. That was actually my idea with going this whole maneuver. It was to go queen g4. And I knew when I did this whole idea that the trick was that he can't go king e1, because then I go takes, takes, and then queen g1, and now it's going to be checkmate. Like, I calculated all of this, right? I calculated this for so long before when I looked at all these lines with rook takes h4. That's why I thought queen c5 was a must move so that the king can escape. But for some reason here, my brain went, oh, this is going to be like the previous game. The king is going to escape. I can't let the king escape. So somehow, after just thinking for like 10 seconds, I went bishop, or not 10, but like 30 seconds, I went bishop b5 check, so that the king wouldn't be able to escape here because there's checkmate. But this is actually a huge mistake, and now I'm not winning anymore. And it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, but I think I was a bit upset because I did see queen g4 a lot of times, and I just don't know why I somehow got in the moment. I saw like a ghost. The ghost was back. I saw a ghost of the king being able to escape, when in fact I just take here, and there's nothing. So yeah, this was just a very simple win that I had here. But okay, the game continues, right? So I went bishop b5 check, the king moved, and I went bishop e2 because I realized now that the rook is coming in, and I wasn't happy about that. So he went rook g1, which is the only move, so he was playing great here. I went queen f3 check. Honestly, when I did this, like, he looked so shocked. I think that, like, I think I did this just because it looked so cool. This looked like a puzzle rush, because if knight, I'm sacrificing my queen, but it's a checkmate if he takes. I think my mom thought I was blundering my queen. But yeah, I think I did it just for the visuals. Like, this really is not that good of a move. And now I kind of lost the plot. Like, I took on f2, which is fine, but now I don't have anything. It's crazy. Because the king and the rook have been able to come together because of my one check, it's fine now for white, which I didn't realize. I thought I was still winning. So, and here also really important for me to point out is that if I do something like king h8, the point is that he has queen c5, and because my bishop is now out in the woods doing I don't know what, this pawn is hanging. And so I have to protect, because otherwise it's going to be repetition. And yeah, it's completely crazy, but this one check just changed that. So bishop e2, I went for this check, the king moved, I took the pawn, I got a bit greedy, and then I moved back my bishop. And here, I think I should probably just trade queens, but in my brain, I was about to checkmate the king. So like, I cannot trade queens because then I accept the fact that I failed at checkmating the king. On a personal level, that was too hard, which sounds crazy, but chess is sometimes like that. It's too much pride sometimes. I had too much pride. I thought, okay, I'm checkmating the king, but no, Anna, the game has changed now. And so now this was different. And so, okay, I went queen h5, the queen came up to f4, now his queen got really active, I went rook g6, and now the tides were turning. The queen was coming into the board, and I went rook g4, which I didn't realize was a blunder. And the reason it's a blunder is because it has this beautiful move b3, which, you know, we were both playing on increment now. We had like 20 seconds left, and he found this amazing move, which was really nice. And the idea is that he's now forcing my bishop out of this square. But now, after this, I mean, the rook is able to come in. So I didn't dare to do that. I went rook e8 instead. He went queen here, I went rook g6, and now he took the pawn on f5. And now I went bishop b5, and this was my move 40. And when he went rook c7, I was about to cry because I realized I was lost. I realized that here I'm losing. And I just thought, how? I was thinking back to the game. I was like, how could I not checkmate the king? I was calculating for so long. How did we get to this? I was thinking, I was really going through, like, it was painful. It was not like, that was painful. This moment right here was painful. And I think if you look back to the footage, of the live stream, you can see me being very sad at this moment. And I was like, you know, like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe that the game had turned to this. It was like, it hit me. I was like, wow, I really just messed up enormously. I was completely winning, and it sucks. And so I spent a lot of time here. The next couple of moves, I was just sad. But then after he went king g3, I thought, I think it was around here, I thought, okay, I can't just lose. I gotta put up a fight, I thought, you know. Now I'm expecting to lose. So then my mind changed. I thought, okay, let's try to save a draw at least. Let's like not lose this game, I thought. And now I was starting to untilt, and I needed like 10 minutes to untilt. But at this point I was like, okay, what's happened has happened. It's the past. I need to just try to make the best out of this situation. So I saw it as a fun game. I was like, okay, let's have fun. Let's try to make it as hard for my opponent as possible. He's winning, but let's be creative. Let's come up with something. And now my mind shifted, and this was really important. I'm trying to be very honest here with like where my thoughts were, but this was exactly what happened. So here I went rook d8 because I realized that his rook is coming in here, and I need to be able to place my bishop here to be able to stop this. So he took my pawn on b7, I went bishop d7, he went rook h2, and I went rook f7. Because at first I was going to do something like rook g6, but then I realized that it was very easy because now, you know, my rook here is going to be stuck forever. And I thought even if he goes on like king f4, I just thought I can almost resign here. Like, I don't know what to do. So I decided to go rook f7 to at least be able to have this rook come to g8 and my rook to be alive. And he played this move, rook c2 here. And here, I found a move that I'm really proud of, which is a practical move. It's not maybe like the best move, but I played this move, h5. And I was really proud of this move when I saw it. What is the idea of h5? Well, the idea is that he cannot take here, obviously, because the knight is hanging. And the idea is that if he now goes for his plan rook c7, well, then I thought that I'll at least take here, and I thought I'm probably still losing, but like there's now some stuff going on here. I mean, I have my bishop, this is hanging, like the rook might come in. So I thought, okay, and my idea was that if he goes rook h2, which he did, I wanted to go rook h7. And now he cannot take here. And actually, I have a really nasty threat. I'm threatening to take on f5. Like if he does something random, I go bishop takes f5 and I'm winning a piece because his rook is hanging and the bishop is protecting the rook. So this move came with a trick. And actually, it came with such a trick that he only has one winning move right now, which is rook b6. Like fully winning. But he didn't go rook b6. He went instead knight d6, and now I have rook g8. And now look at this. Now my rooks and my pieces are much more active than a few moments ago. So when I played, now I started seeing hope. I saw the light in the tunnel. And I thought, wait, I might not lose this game. And I was like internally like crying out of happiness. I was like, oh my, I'm so happy that I'm not losing. Here I thought I was going to save it, but I wasn't sure because I also knew that I could perfectly lose. But because I had the mindset that I was going to lose before, now I was feeling really happy. So he went rook h4, I went bishop takes g4. We traded rooks, he went king f4, and now I went rook b8. And now we both had like 4 minutes on the clock, and here I was trying to calculate how this endgame was, where we picked up everything. Because what I realized was that here after king g6, what I realized was that I would be able to, I had to calculate, like, I knew that I'd be able to trade off these pieces, and then I had to calculate, like, you know, how is this run to promote? Like, I had to, like, calculate all this. I only had a couple of minutes. So I went king g6, he went d5, and here I think I should have gone king f7. The reason I should have gone king f7 is because this was a little bit practically more difficult for my opponent. Because here if he goes here, I win because I trade off everything, and now this is winning. And here, if he goes rook check, I go king e7 and I'm winning again. So I definitely should have played king f7 here. I somehow didn't have time to fully finish my calculations and I thought that this maybe worked, but this is exactly like barely, you know, a draw. Like if this was one tempo less, I would be winning because my king would have time to come up. But as soon as the king is able to go to either b1 or a1, it becomes a draw. So I just kind of miscalculated it. But yeah, so here I should definitely have tried just to make it a bit more complicated. I mean, here, if I go king f7 and he goes king here, then it's just going to be a draw because I'm forced to taking. And then this is going to be, you know, once again, a draw because the king is on time. As you can see, the king will arrive in time. Yeah, and this is a draw. So yeah, anyways, the game ended up becoming a draw. It was a crazy roller coaster game. I was completely winning, and I was completely losing, and then it became a draw. So it was a crazy game. Yeah, definitely felt like I did the impossible, but in both ways. I, you know, got a losing position from the most winning position ever, and then I drew from the most losing position ever. So overall, I'm pretty happy that I was able to save it. He found some great moves as well, and yeah, I'm honestly not too upset anymore. And now I'm just thinking about the double round tomorrow. We have 2 rounds tomorrow, 9 a.m., 4 p.m. So gotta get some rest and get ready for that. But I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you learned some stuff, and I hope that you've been having fun following the journey of this tournament. Thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you so much for watching my recaps. And if you made it this far, what should you type? I want you to type something. Okay. If you made it this far, type tomato in the comments. If you were in the live stream, you'll know what it's all about. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Tomato. Bye-bye.